Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a fifth boss. We can confirm that. We're working on it. We can't say what it's going to be. We don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's going to be something absolutely kick-ass, and I think it's going to be very, very exciting.
With a fifth Elder Godwars dungeon boss confirmed and new Slayer content just over the horizon, I think we're headed towards an exciting new year. In this video I'm going to cover the recent modcast Q&A and highlight the most important topics mentioned. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. The Elder Godwars storyline is coming to a close very soon. This year at the end, around Christmas, a final Grandmaster quest will be released that will end the Elder God narrative. This will be the first Grandmaster quest released since 2016. There will also be a fifth Elder Godwars boss, which we are probably all secretly expecting to come at some point in time anyway, but it was confirmed that the boss is coming this summer, so that means in June or July.
So I can probably say it's going to be at some point over the summer. Moment, loads of work's going on. Really cool design. I think Mod Realm is going crazy on it at the moment. We're looking forward to it. I think there's going to be lots of some unique sort of mechanics we're going to bring into that to make it really exciting. And yeah, we'll just give you more information on that as soon as we can.
So this boss is going to feature some unique mechanics, which is great because, well, unique mechanics make a boss. Think the Time Warp mechanic at Karapak, that's something unique. And I hope this boss is going to be very different to what we have in the game currently. If I understood it correctly, Mod Realm is working on the visuals, and Mod Ramen and Mod Sponge are working on the boss itself. Now this boss will be part of a new storyline which will continue in probably 2023 with new quests, which according to Mod Jack and Mod Mike are all going to make sense once we see it.
When we say like we're ending the storyline, we're beginning a new storyline, what does that even mean? You'll see what we mean.
What this boss will be is left to be imagined, as they'll probably not give away anything until they are far closer to the release date, if that release date isn't moved up further into the year, because stuff does get delayed sometimes. I'd be willing to bet it's going to be one of the harder bosses in this game, because every time, at least in the Godwars Dungeon series, a fifth boss is released, think Nex, Telos, those bosses are significantly harder than the original 4 bosses released in the Godwars dungeons. February is going to be an exciting month for Slayer, with global buffs coming to Slayer as soon as next week, being the week from February the 7th onwards, and near the end of the month we're going to be receiving the Slayer update we've probably been waiting for quite some time. I'm going to assume it's the abyssal creatures that will be added to the game with that update, featuring new lighting, being the point light shadow system they talked about throughout the stream, which will potentially be added to other areas throughout the game in the future as well. For those that aren't aware, the Slayer creatures are going to be the Abyssal Savage at level 95 Slayer, the Abyssal Hound at 105 Slayer, and the Abyssal Lord at 115 Slayer, which will summon its own minions, probably like Glaciors. Now you've probably been wondering where the player avatar rework is, which I've covered in previous news videos quite some time ago now, and basically what they said is they bit off more than they could chew, the head of the player is clipping with hair, the jaws are missing, and stuff related to old items in the game not working well with the new player avatar is causing this project to be delayed for quite some time, and it probably, well, let's say definitely will not come out this year. But they did say something along the lines of maybe having a beta where we could test out the new player avatar model, which is pretty interesting.
What I'm hoping we'll be able to do is bring some of this content in a beta of some form, so we can share the work in progress and where we've got to with it. And get your feedback. Tell us what you like about it and what you don't like about it.
Now, the new shadow system is something I mentioned earlier with the abyssal creatures, and this is going to be something that will be part of that update, and it looks really good. It simply looks really good. Now, what they did say is that this is something they can't just simply turn on for every part of the game. It's something an artist or a JMod, a developer, has to manually add to an area, which will require some work, and I assume this is something they're going to add to the newer areas, think Centistan, Anachronia, and stuff like that. The newer quests, the newer content where most players hang out. I also believe it's worth mentioning that different developers work on different things. No matter how obvious that sounds to some people, others think that graphical reworks like this or changing shadows are made at the expense of other updates like a new boss, but that simply isn't the case.
There's quite a lot of people in the chat wondering, is this like the highest priority issue we could be working on? And it's just different developers. Like we have these are artists and people who are working with environment and lighting, and it's technology they've wanted for a long time to allow them to create better looking areas. it's not coming
Yeah.
at the cost of other things. It's a different group of developers.
Throughout the stream, they also briefly touched upon platinum tokens, the economy, you know, rares and that stuff. And what they said is they're still looking into it. They're still working on it. Just like DevCost, by the way, of which we will receive a free DevCost week at some point in the future as well. Now, they also touched upon the false item claims, and I believe they gave us a good reply and a professional reply that they're looking into it and actively trying to ban people, and some people have been banned apparently, that are abusing the item reclaim system. For those that don't know, some players got a ridiculous amount of weapons, battle stays, and dies or clue score awards because they slipped through somehow. They refer to it as bad apples, and I believe this entire issue is kind of blown out of proportion. And back when the login lockout was a thing, I remember talking to a JMod, which I won't name, about it, and they were already looking into it at that time. So I don't believe the people that are blowing this out of proportion, saying that one player got something and now every player can simply go ahead and reclaim billions of GP. That's not how it works, and the anecdotal evidence kind of supports that. There's only a few examples online of people reclaiming ridiculous amounts of stuff. There's probably more out there, obviously. This doesn't mean that there's not others, but I really do believe this is being blown out of proportion. Now, of course, someone being able to reclaim millions of an item or hundreds of some kind of 295 is not good, but the market is still fine. The economy hasn't crashed to garbage like with the Archer Ring dupe, so I think we're fine. They also touched upon the 20-year veteran cape, and they talked about potential adjustments, most likely something like particles. They know some people like it, they know a lot of people dislike it, and they're going to perhaps pull a potential concept, and if people like it, they'll change it then. They also talked about skill and graphical reworks, which are really interesting. Now, some players apparently don't consider graphical reworks as content, and that's absolutely fair. So they're looking to balance graphical reworks and regular content. Apparently it's pretty hard, and I can imagine it is, because, you know, we have a divided community. Some people want graphical reworks really badly, other people just want new content, and that balance is definitely something very difficult. It's worth mentioning that a place in Runescape that they don't really feel is fitting anymore. They don't want to rework it. They also don't want to delete it. They prefer to like create a new Karamja, work it up from the ground. I don't think they'll be touching Karamja ever. Now, I've seen this in my comments, and people want a woodcutting and fletching rework, and I kind of do as well, but it won't happen. We already knew this, or at least some of you who watch the streams or my videos about the news. Mod Osborne once said during the small divination rework we got that big skill reworks simply aren't worth the developer time, and they just take up too much time. At the time, Mod Osborne used construction as an example, and according to his estimates, or the team's estimates, it would take like 3 years, which simply isn't worth it because not that much new content will come out of it. In short, we can only expect small scale skill reworks moving forward, although we haven't seen much of it yet. They very briefly also talked about a melee buff, and it simply isn't as simple as buffing the numbers because the combat style is so fundamentally different to magic and range. But I hope we'll be seeing a buff sometime soon. In terms of events, we have a Valentine's event coming up, Easter event coming up, a Yak Track, Double XP, and the beach was confirmed to come back this summer as well. More details on these events will probably be released in a future livestream, which I'll then cover in a video if it's interesting enough. With that being said, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing. And if you want to support the channel, just like the other channel members, be sure to click that join button down below. Thank you, and catch you guys in the next one. Peace.